for very much longer. All right, you're on the clock. We get a mic lit up here? You're on the mic. Now we go.
Okay, so yeah, it says OOmba in your scorecards because yesterday we were called OOmba, now we're called OOmba. We ran into a trademark problem. Did you guys ever hear of OOmba? Anyways, we're OOmba now, and that's a much better name. So legal notice, we're not here. These words were never spoken.
You got deducted 30 seconds for putting that legal notice.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We were advised by Cooley. So anyways, eBay. eBay, in March of 2008, eBay banned the sales of digital objects on their website. Boo. Ooh. My name is Mike Williams. I'm the founder and co-founder and CEO of the company. I've done 25 computer games. Has anybody ever heard of any of these? Hey! Okay, well, all right. Anyways, I am pleased to be co-founding this company with Amy Tucker, the Chief Creative Officer who is the maker of Zico, and also this guy. He did Atari and Chuck E. Cheese, Pong, Asteroids. Anybody ever heard of Atari? Okay, so OOmba is the preeminent digital object trading platform for social networks and mobile games. What the heck does that mean? Yeah, nowadays games are no longer sold as a product. Games are a service. Obviously Zynga has proven this model where instead of people just buying the product one time for a fixed price, they instead buy the product through buying digital objects. The games are free to play, but the revenue comes from ads and virtual goods sales. And by the way, it's huge. It's about $10 billion right now and expected to be $20 billion in the next 2.5 years. That is a rapidly growing market. And the reason we love this market, according to Atul Bagga from Think Equity, is because it has something called price discrimination, the holy grail of marketing. How many economists in the room? Anyways, what price discrimination means is that people who are willing to spend more money can spend more money, and those who are unwilling to pay don't need to pay. So 90% never pay. That's a bit of an issue. In fact, it's kind of like this, where if the free lane has a 1 hour wait, but the other lane's $1, everybody's going to line up in the free lane. And I think there's a way to monetize it. Most people, 90% of the players, pay with time. If you sit and play the game for, how many Farmville players, Cityville players? There's 500 million of you out there. Apparently not here. Yeah, they're busy playing right now, that's right. So 90% of players will pay with time, but that's an awful lot like Super Nanny putting you on a timeout for not having paid, and it's not the right way to get money out of them. The right way to do it is to create an aftermarket value, a perception of value. Would you pay $20 for a $100 bill? And how many times would you do that? So what we've created is a digital object trading platform which creates an aftermarket for these digital objects. So if you bought the cow, you could resell the cow at a profit later, especially if it was the rare black cow. And if you add an aftermarket to something, people tend to be willing to pay more. Instead of 90% of people not paying, 90% of people would pay. And those who would pay more would pay substantially more. In fact, it's multipliers. Because some people literally create businesses to trade digital objects. And it's all about the fun of collecting and the rarity. People if you've ever actually looked at a baseball card, it's a piece of cardboard with a bad photo on it. And yet some of those baseball cards are worth $50,000 or more. Collecting is a blast. Everybody collects something, probably, and it's all kinds of fun stuff. And auctions are fun. But have you ever heard of Magic the Gathering or Pokemon? These things sold billions, and the whole model there was that they were collectible and tradable. And in fact, there is a game called Magic the Gathering Online, which is the same as the physical card game, except that it's purely virtual, that the cards don't exist in real life. I personally have 45,000 of them. So eBay decided to ban these transactions, and the reason they banned these transactions was because they didn't know how to verify that the transaction had actually occurred. They prefer to see things come through eBay and UPS. Well, eBay doesn't really understand that just because I sent somebody something by FedEx, well, the box could have been empty. And in the world of the digital, I might actually have created a server thing where I actually look at the transaction. I see that the object goes from this server to that server and verify it. And they even have a currency system which we invented called GameBucks, so there's even a currency so you can verify these transactions. So in other words, we are more secure than eBay, and hopefully eBay will therefore buy our technology and use it, and we'll all be rich. To prove to prove that this technology is good, we thought we'd hire this guy. This is Dr. Richard Garfield, who is the actual inventor of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, and in the world of us geeks is, oh my God. And by the way, this is Farm Bill's numbers. And I picked on Farm Bill because obviously Cityville is killing Farm Bill, but look at what's happening to Farm Bill's numbers. And meantime, Magic the Gathering Online, which is now a 9-year-old game, is still climbing. It's actually making more revenue than Cityville. You can quote me. So look at me. I'm privileged to work with the founder of Atari, the inventor of Zico, and the guy who invented the entire collectible tradable card game. So I'm having a heck of a lot of fun. And if you would like to join us, Dylan right there and myself are pleased to invite you in. Thank you very much.
Great. You left an extra minute. I didn't even have to deduct the time penalty there.
Oh, good.
So we'll go right into the questions.
So sorry, you want to go first? I do play some of these games, and it seems to me a lot of the money is spent to speed things up. But if you don't spend it, it's still there to speed things up later. So why trade it?
Yeah, in fact, like World of Warcraft, they have a cultural objection to the idea of an aftermarket because they feel that players will use their money to accelerate beyond the level at which they should be allowed to play inside World of Warcraft. And in some respects, we kind of agree with that. There are certain kinds of games, like digital, tradable, collectible card games, that are actually, that no amount of a collection really gives you the edge, or the edge is mathematically infinitesimal, because even though I own 45,000 cards, I'm only allowed to put 60 of them into my deck. So technically, if I had the right 60 cards, I would never need the rest of my collection. So money doesn't give you the advantage.
So how do you interface with the games, and how do you avoid running afoul with terms of reference? Because or terms of service. Sparta tried to do that 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And they tried to go after WoW, and there was no chance for them. And
the most difficult part of this is the relationships with the publishers. And thankfully, in part because I'm associated with Nolan, is we have the kinds of relationships where we can talk to publishers and convince them to make the loopholes and exceptions for us. So we've got friends at Facebook, we got friends at Zynga, we can do things like that. Because there is a huge demand for it, and when you basically, our pitch there is instead of 90% of your players paying zero, 90% of your players would pay money, and if we can talk the economics with them, we can talk them into it, hopefully.
If it's a digital good and people use it and then resell it, shouldn't there basically be no difference in price between the original purchase price and the secondary market price?
Well, yeah, actually, that's the common reason why people don't want to have an aftermarket for the products. But the truth is, an aftermarket lifts your products because, I'm more willing to buy a product. Like a car is a great example. When you drive a new car off the lot, there's always the joke about how the value has descended just as you're driving off the lot. But something you know about your car at all times is it does have a resale value. And because of that resale value, it may lift the amount you'd be willing to pay for the car in the first place, if that makes sense. And especially amongst the world of collectors, a lot of people buy the first editions of comic books in the hopes that someday that comic book might be a collector's item, which sells a lot of bad comics, to be honest. And there's a lot of comics that are numbered 1 just to take advantage of that.
So are you launched yet? Have you do you have a game which is live with the technology out there?
Yeah, some of you might have seen me before. I think I was here 2 years ago, and we had formed a company called Reality Gap and built all of this technology with millions of dollars of Keiretsu money, and then we managed to acquire those assets into OOmba. So even though the company is 1 day old, it's actually got about $1.5 million worth of assets at this point. So.
Are you sure Roomba's not going to come after you?
Yeah, I hope not. And actually, you guys had a panelist who apparently had a company that he founded called OOmba, OOmba, and I'm like, oh my God. So the namespace is a little crowded, but we have the .com, and that's what it's all about.
There you go. Good. Any more questions? No?
No, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Warranty life.